In the last number of weeks, we've sort of been motoring through Matthew's gospel, his good news of Jesus Christ. A couple of weeks ago, we reflected on the passage of Jesus' baptism, where the skies opened, and the voice from heaven said, "You are my beloved, my blessings upon you," and so on. Then, right away in Matthew's Gospel, which I started to read last week in error, as I was reading another passage, we have Jesus' temptation in the desert, where all the normal ways we reflect on success in life in terms of having lots of security, having lots of material well-being, having power. Jesus' blood does not buy into that. His identity, his purpose in life, the sense of what is true meaning and what will give his life ultimate meaning, is his relationship with God and his obedience to the way that God calls him to live out his life. And that's the message he passes on to us. Then we come today to his teaching. Okay, last week he called the brothers, the fishermen, to come and follow him, and they did. So now here he's on the mountain and he's teaching them. And he begins, and actually, most of us, if we really listen to what he's saying, are a bit taken aback, because he's saying, "Blessed are the losers of the world, those who have no hope, those who are, what's he say? Blessed are the poor in spirit, those who are broken," and so on. You start thinking, have I come to the wrong rally? They're certainly not the Beatitudes my grandmother taught me. She taught me to do things well, and things will be well with you. Follow the wisdom of the world. Listen to others. Learn how to do what your lot in life is, and do it well. All the different ways of the world. Marry well, she would say. All the things we know that are to get ahead. We find that in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, all the wisdom of the ways of the world. But those aren't the Beatitudes that Jesus gives us today. So what's going on? Well, again, in this temptation in the desert, he makes clear what's really important in life. Our relationship with God. And to live as God calls us. We just sang that song a few moments ago. The only hands in the world are Jesus' hands are our hands, our heart, our feet. So he's calling us. That's our calling. To live in obedience to Jesus. And it's not easy. There's two things we have to overcome. One, the difficulties of, for example, in the song, the one who doesn't break their word, even though it's going to bother them. That isn't easy to do, is it? So living a virtuous life, being who we say we are, doing what's right. Sometimes we're not quite sure what God wants us to do. But goodness, we're always pretty sure what God doesn't want us to do. That's very simple. So living the virtuous life, that virtue that's been shaped by our teachings, our Christian tradition, and so on, is always daunting, and we fail, and sometimes we're tempted to just sort of hunker down and try and look after our family as best we can, and forget what we've seen. Well, we know the consequences of that. We know what's happened in our world when good people haven't stepped forward to challenge what's untrue and what's unjust and what is anti to life. So we're called to do that. And if we do that, we're blessed. The Greek word is makarios, and it means to be fulfilled, to be happy. Actually, the way the Spanish translate it, I can't remember the Spanish word exactly, but it's to be on a great adventure. Because following Jesus is sort of a great adventure. It's a bit dangerous, but it's opening our eyes to something really wonderful and something really worthwhile. So those who are blessed, according to Jesus, according to our faith, are those who follow the way that leads to their true selves and do what calls forth their true selves. So what is this true self that Jesus is calling us to live? This poor in spirit, this merciful, this being able to mourn. It's a true self that all pretenses are just sort of taken away like a shirt. And your true, vulnerable, human self is right there. Just like every other human being's true, vulnerable mixture of fear and bravery, of goodness and a bit of badness and everything in between, our vulnerable, fragile humanness. Jesus says, first you strip down to that, then you follow me. And I think in our world today, which is so divided, whether it's divided politically or people try and divide it by our religion or people try and divide it by our race or color or whatever, we all need this good stripping down to our basic self, where we discover that great wisdom that I'm unique like everyone else. I'm unique like everyone else. And we're all in the brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. This is particularly important as people start to panic and with this new virus going around the world. We start blaming certain people or certain nations. They're the people that carry it and so on and so forth. So how do we follow these beatitudes that Jesus is doing? How do we strip down? It's very difficult. We all have so many clothes that we wear, so many moves, ways we behave in certain situations. Our sense of self-worth can be based on so many different things. How is that all stripped down? How do we break through our prejudices we have against other people? Well, we've got to try, and one thing I know, those prejudices keep coming back, or those pretenses about myself will keep coming back. But what has really cut them down and has really helped me be able to relate to each and every human being in my own vulnerability is a struggle I've had with cancer since 2014 rather. I had my first diagnosis of liver cancer then, and then I had a big operation, then I had another one, and then I had a final operation where they straightened the whole thing out. So far. But through all that, as you go, I remember my first visit to the Princess Margaret Hospital for some blood tests and so on. And you go into a waiting room, and there's a whole host of people, all different ages and stages, and ethnicities, and I'm sure different religions, and so on. We're all there, and then you realize we're all there because we have cancer. We're all there because whether we think we're better than somebody or not, we're not. We're just another human being bargaining for more time. Bargaining for more time. And the second thing, so that sort of breaks down those airs, doesn't it? you sort of accept yourself as who you are, and you accept everyone else as who they are. Just people trying to make it through life, and let's make it a better life by helping each other. The other thing I discovered, the people who cared for me at different times I was in the hospital were beautiful people. But they were short, and they were tall, and they were white, and they were black, and any other different color. They were Filipino, some were Chinese, some from Pakistan. They're all beautiful. So much sometimes some of the care I got, I just cried afterwards. Cried in gratitude. So that sort of got me down to this lack of pretense about myself. And I work on that because the pretense comes back very quickly. I don't suggest anyone you go and see if you can get cancer so you can live the Beatitudes. But I am saying that kind of depth of wisdom that grew out of that experience, I pray that you find it. And I remember when I was in Cameroon, this would have been over 1988, 89, quite a few years ago. I was on Sunday, I used to preach at different little villages. About 6 of them. I had 6 services I had to go to. And this one village, they were farmers, and they didn't have any cash, really. Not much money at all. But they were very beautiful people. And they loved singing, and they loved Jesus. They really loved Jesus. And when it came offering time, people would go to the back of the church building we had, and there'd be different offerings from money. Somebody would be bringing some eggs, somebody would be bringing a chicken, live, sometimes, whatever, everything. And they would dance up to the front, moving, and it was just a tune. You lack something. If you don't have Jesus, you lack something. And they were full of joy, just coming forward without any pretense. Some with money, some with a chicken, some with a couple of eggs. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will be comforted. May the offertory of our lives be like those people in that little village of Akika. Be as simple and as blessed as theirs. Amen.